They smashed her garden like it was nothing. Handmade pottery shattered, family photos torn to pieces. And my wife, my Elena, pushed against our fridge by two fake HOA enforcers while their ringleader filmed everything, smiling. They thought we'd just take it, that I was just another retired guy trimming hedges. What they didn't know was who they'd just picked a fight with. 3 years ago, Elena and I moved to a quiet little neighborhood called Greystone Hills. It looked like paradise: clean streets, neat lawns, friendly faces. Elena fell in love with the backyard instantly. She's an architect, and what she did with that garden, it was magic. Flower terraces, stone paths, lighting that made the place glow like a movie set at night. Me, I handled the dirtier work. I liked precision, symmetry, kept the grass tight, every hedge lined up like soldiers. People said it looked like something out of a catalog. They didn't know where I'd learned that kind of discipline. 2 decades in the Navy, half of it in SEAL teams. Back then, I used to handle enemies with a piece of rope and a plan. Now, I was pruning rose bushes. But all that peace, it went out the window 6 months ago. That's when Roger Mathis became president of our HOA, middle-aged, clean-cut, with a military air about him. Not the kind you trust, though, the kind who walks into a room like he owns your oxygen. The first meeting he ran, he came out swinging, talking about community uniformity, visual compliance, and other nonsense. Grass no longer than 2.5 inches, door colors approved by a committee he handpicked. Even flower pots had to be HOA sanctioned. I thought he was overcompensating for something. Turns out I was right. It started small. First, a $200 fine for non-compliant grass height. I measured it myself. It was 2.9 inches at most. Then came a $350 fine because our front door color, deep ocean blue, was too expressive. That door had been the same for years. Elena was furious. She started keeping records, photos, time-stamped logs. That's how she noticed the surveillance. A new camera pointed right at our house from a pole across the street. She called the power company. They had no idea about it. I took one look at that feed and felt something twist in my gut. I'd seen that angle before in Afghanistan on recon footage. This wasn't HOA stuff. This was military-style surveillance. So I acted quietly, started wiring up my own system. Infrared, night vision, discrete placements. Elena caught me one night testing camera feeds on an old laptop. Military grade, not store-bought. She didn't say much, just looked at me differently, like she was seeing a man she hadn't met before. And then came the faces. Carol Barnes, Roger's assistant, taking photos from across the street. She'd been in the neighborhood for years, but never cared about HOA stuff until Roger came in. Suddenly, she's everywhere, watching, logging, always looking just a little too interested in my left arm, where my SEAL trident is tattooed under the sleeve. By week 4, we were $750 deep in fines for excessive garden embellishments. That garden, that was Elena's pride and joy. When they came for that, I saw her spirit falter. And that's when it hit me. I didn't know if I could win this. I sat there one night, sorting violation notices in my old military footlocker. Elena looked at me concerned, like she wanted to ask, is this really happening? I wanted to say I had it under control, but I didn't. For the first time in years, I felt powerless. We could sell, leave, start over. But I knew that's what Roger wanted. And quitting, that wasn't in my DNA. So I sharpened the blade. Elena found out that the mystery camera's signal was being fed to a shed in Carol's backyard. Inside, a recorder connected to a schedule of our comings and goings, mine and hers, down to the hour. That's not HOA enforcement, that's targeting. Then Roger brought in enforcers, 2 guys straight out of a discount action movie, Rick and Tyler. Bulky, no necks, attitude like they're in a biker gang. We watched from our kitchen window as he gave them the tour, pointing at our house. I knew that look. That wasn't community improvement. That was intimidation. The harassment turned cruel overnight. Dead plants left like symbols on our porch. Elena's car keyed. Slurs scratched across the door. Garbage dumped on our lawn. Cops shrugged it off. Probably some kids. Yeah, I knew better. This was psychological warfare. Tuesday, I called in sick, followed Roger. He met with some man in a suit, nervous, twitchy, handed over a thick folder. It wasn't just personal, it was organized. Then came Thursday. I was stuck downtown for a meeting I couldn't skip. Elena texted at 10:32. Carol +2. Big guys here, say emergency inspection, what do I do? I told her to stall, but I was 20 minutes out, and what happened next? I watched it all through the camera feeds, couldn't do a damn thing. They came in fast. Carol with a fake clipboard. Rick and Tyler, dressed like rent-a-cops, said they had an anonymous tip about dangerous chemicals in the garage. Elena hesitated, but opened the door. That's all they needed. They tore through everything. Elena's pottery collection, smashed, family photos, ripped, my medal, citations, stomped on. But what broke me was the garden. They destroyed it, ripped out every flower Elena planted by hand, smashed the fountain she designed, baseball batted the lights we hung together one weekend last summer. And when she tried to call the cops, Rick snatched her phone and slammed it into the wall. Tyler shoved her hard into the kitchen counter. This is what happens when you don't follow the rules, Carol said, filming everything, laughing. I got home in 12 minutes flat. The front door was open. I walked in, silent. They never saw me coming. Rick dropped first, a strike to the leg that shattered his balance. Then the windpipe. Tyler turned, too slow. I caught his swing, twisted, sent him face first into the hardwood, done. Both on the ground, unconscious. Carol froze, dropped her phone. I tied the enforcers up with hose from the backyard, then turned to Elena. She was shaking, crying, but not broken. I checked her for injuries, nothing serious, just bruises, and rage. Later, I showed her the photo I'd tried to hide, me, standing next to a special operations sign in full gear. She just nodded, like everything made sense. We dug deeper. Turns out Roger Mathis and I shared a past. He'd been my commanding officer on a covert mission 15 years ago, a mission that went sideways because someone sold our location. 2 good men died, 3 wounded, and me, I spent months hunting down who did it. Roger got court-martialed, dishonorably discharged. He blamed me. And now he was here, in my neighborhood, playing president. He'd waited years to get back at me, used Carol, used the HOA, used neighbors as pawns in his twisted revenge game. So I brought the war to him. At the next HOA board meeting, I walked in with a laptop, a projector, and a shirt with sleeves I could roll up. They tried to shut me down, said it was a closed meeting. I hit play. Video of Elena's assault played out in silence. The room turned ice cold. This is what your president authorized, I said. This is felony assault, organized harassment, and it ends now. Then I rolled up my sleeve, revealed the tattoo. 20 years in naval special warfare, call sign Vulture. I've spent my life hunting terrorists and traitors, and now I'm hunting one of my own. Carol cracked first. She stood up and shouted, he knew who David was the whole time. He planned it all. The room erupted. Roger tried to spin it, claimed PTSD, claimed I threatened him. But nobody bought it, not after seeing Elena on that footage, not after hearing Carol. I laid out demands. Roger resigns, apologizes, pays restitution, faces the law. And if not, there won't be a next time, I said. He didn't argue. By the next morning, the feds were at his door. Turns out the guys who attacked Elena weren't the last. Roger had hired 6 more, mercs with real records. I intercepted their comms. We prepared the house for siege. They came at 2 a.m., power cut, signals jammed. I was already awake. The traps worked. A tripwire snapped bones. Foam blinded another. I moved through the dark like smoke, took them down one by one. By sunrise, 6 bodies were zip-tied in my living room. Elena stepped out of the safe room like she was born for it. Roger went away for a long time. Conspiracy, attempted murder, espionage, history reopened, federal time. Elena, elected new HOA president, unanimous vote. And me, I went back to trimming hedges, only now. The neighbors nod with real respect. Never underestimate the quiet ones.